Can you try just like going as loud as you can? I guess as loud as you possibly can.
Ah!
I'm gonna edit that into a playing sound. You know it. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to the Kat Café, a friendly little podcast stream live on Twitch where we talk about lighthearted topics that will make you scratch your head, or wherever you scratch. Sorry. Today's topic is the topic of fantasy, in terms of all kinds of fantasy aspects, in terms of creation, enjoyment, different kinds of variety, and subgenres in fantasy. Okay. I'm joined here by Furry Scout. I'm not sure if you guys heard that loud bang right now. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I do.
So I'm joined here by the amazing Furry Scout once more, and we shall see if we'll have any more guests in the podcast. But other than that, I think we should just get right into it. So I'll start you off with a 1v1 question, I guess. What is the first thing that you think of when you think of fantasy? Like, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
You're talking to an animal person. What do you think?
Oh, that kind of fantasy. I think that's a different kind of fantasy than what I was expecting, but okay.
When it comes to fantasy, the first thing comes to mind is like those, you know, were werewolves and all, or anything that's just half human, half animal to it.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, so you mean kind of... God, there was a word for it other than furry. There was anthropomorphic kind of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of anthropomorphic, some are more to the human-like, some are more fictive, like the centaur or the mermaid, and then there is just like more pharaoh, what we call as the pharaoh characters, which is they look more animalistic, but they still have some human traits. For example, like being able to talk or walk on two legs.
Yeah, true. And I guess a different kind of fantasy that not a lot of people talk about is more like realistic fantasy, because fantasy isn't always just, it's not always just something that doesn't exist. It's more like taking what's existing and warping it to their own kind of perspective, I guess.
I suppose it in a way like you're trying to incorporate some of the the real world policy to the to your own world or your own creative fantasy.
Yeah, true. So that's more like world creation kind of fantasy. And what is a good example of fantasy that you can think of in like pop culture? What's something that resonates with pop culture?
I would have to say something more futuristic, for example, like cyberpunk would definitely be a good example.
That's true, actually. Cyberpunk. So that's more like predictive fantasy, kind of like thinking of what might happen in the future.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of at this moment people have their own perspective. What it be look like in the future? For example, is it going to be good? So it will be a utopian world or a dystopian world?
Oh, gotcha. And of course, we all know the amazing example of fantasy, D&D. So, what is it the best? What's like your best experience with D&D? I guess.
I never actually played D&D. Knowing I did know you for a while that you has a little bit of experience when it comes to the.
I I literally only played one game, got obsessed with dice, and then never played again. I literally. Go ahead.
I wonder how many dice do you collected?
More than I'm happy to admit.
An unhealthy obsession of dice.
Not much. So like a small bag of dice, but like I only played once, so I don't have that much experience. But it did unlock a kind of creativity that's not exactly super accessible to a lot of people, in terms of like normal storytelling or day-to-day kind of thing.
Well, I didn't. I never actually play D&D before, but I play something similar, which used back then used to be one of like those weekend nights kind of game with the boys.
Cracking a cold when I win.
It's called the Eldritch Horror.
Eldritch
Which
horror.
yeah, you basically find just trying to closing the gateway portals to, I believe it's all based on the HP Lovecraftian world.
Stargate?
Uh, uh like Lovecraft. For example, we have the Azeroth. I'm pretty sure those who who know about the lore, if I were to say something wrong, they would get so pissed about it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, luckily we don't have that much of a risk here. So go ahead.
So one of them is basically you have to collect clues and collect clues. Uh, some of them we have to collect a certain amounts of, I believe it's called the Eldritch Eldritch Altar. You have to
Oh.
collect a certain amount before the, what we call the boss or monster wakes up. So either it is game over, or you have to fight the boss.
Oh. So it's kind of like it's kind of like an RPG in a way, but the board game.
Yes, in the RPG board game, you is doesn't really involve in much of the role playing. Because usually there's a lot of these random, I would say like random occurrence of something happen.
Oh, okay.
And, and some of them were giving you like a really kind of stupid effects. For example, just out of nowhere, you met with the mafia gang. The next thing you know, you end up with a leg injury or back injury and a crippling death.
He fell. It's not personal, kids. It's business. I will say.
So I like the fact that one of them just every time when one of uh one of the players just heals up, just remove the debuff.
Oh.
And then the next
Oh.
and then and then the next turn he gets the same debuff again.
So it's useless.
Yeah.
I will say that's amazing. One of the best things about D&D is like literally anything can happen, and it can literally anything in your imagination. Like for example, you walk into a cave. Oh no, wait, the cave turned into a rainbow. Oh wait, no, there's a dragon at the end of the rainbow. Oh no, you're dead. Oh wait, no, you are living your life as a ghost. Oh no, you revived. Oh no, the prince is dead. Oh wait, you're a ghost. Why do you care? Oh wait, you revived. It's like it's insanely variety. I guess there's like an insane variety in what can happen. So
It's like a vicious cycle.
yeah, no, not exactly just like a cycle. Just like the events that can happen are so out of the imagination that you can literally not expect anything, and it'll probably happen.
It has it has more plot twists than the Game of Thrones.
I never watched Game of Thrones, so I'm not gonna get that reference. Oof.
I mean, well, no, like everybody knows that Game of Thrones has a lot of plot twists. It's just kind of
Oh, it's
it's
a
like a
meme.
general at this point.
Didn't I know?
Now you know.
Now I know. So what
What I
about? Oh, go ahead.
what I think about the D&D, just trying to imagine, especially like the GM or the DM, I believe
DM.
it's called.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Don't
called
slide into them, please.
uh, game master. I was like wondering in like behind the scenes how much how much effort that they have to put into like creating the scenario, the campaign and the scenario.
Oh, some of them don't care. Some of them will absolutely throw hell at you. Some of them will just give you the best game ever. There's so many. The game can vary from DM to DM, from what I've heard at least, that it's just so incredibly varied, which is something I guess applies a lot to books and stuff. There's a lot of media inspired by D&D, and I'm not talking about Stranger Things. Um, But there's a lot of media inspired by it, so it looks so. There's so much variety in what fantasy can be, and just letting your mind go wild is surprisingly revealing sometimes for not just yourself, but like what humans are able to just conjure up.
Hashtag Jumanji.
Oh my god. Welcome to Jumanji. I swear, I will give them the biggest dialogue tree ever. I could not stand it if an NPC just talked to me, just said like the same words over and over and over and over and over again. I could not stand it. No, it's just no. That would drive me insane.
Imagine like virtual reality were to introduce Jumanji, and then you just have to stuck in the intro over and over again.
That's another thing, though. Virtual reality is bringing fantasy to life in a way that's never really been done before. VR is just, it's bringing fantasy to a, well, virtual reality. What else was I gonna say there?
Bringing the virtual fantasy to the actual reality.
Yeah, actual fantasy to virtual reality. Yeah, it's kind of it's just amazing. And I guess one of the things that interests me about fantasy is just, I guess, how, well, I already said this, just how crazy it can get, but I also like how we have kind of used fantasy to kind of evolve ourselves. Like stuff that seemed like fantasy 20 years ago is completely possible now. Like who thought 20 years ago that we would be having virtual reality? Not just the virtual boy, whatever, just like actual virtual reality games. Where it's just such a common thing nowadays that it just exists.
It just kind of became the boundaries between fantasy and reality is just getting more blurrier.
Not to the extent I would say, but yeah.
It is basically they're getting closer and closer. I would say.
Yeah, in a way. We can't like simulate it 100% because our bodies will probably not survive most of that. But to an extent, yes, in the human range. What I will say though, what is your favorite kind of subgenre of fantasy if you had to choose one?
I honestly prefer like the ye old mythological kind.
ye old screw up. I got you.
With the high elves, the druids, the orcs, and the werewolf.
But that's more, I guess that's more medieval fantasy. But you're saying more like the magical kind of like system that goes against science kind of fantasy.
I mean, I don't mind with, in the combination with those steampunk esque as well.
Do you consider those fantasy?
Yeah, I actually would consider those more fantasy as well.
Okay. What about sci-fi? Okay, this is gonna spark some debate. But would you consider sci-fi to be fantasy?
In a way, yes. I would have to say yes. Because you're trying to implement science or logic, as we say. But then again, you just keep seeing the word quantum in just everywhere. Just to you want to explain science, but you don't really want to talk how logical or logical or what is it complicated that it seems. Just say quantum. People would.
Yeah. What? Why is your rocket better than mine? Because it's a quantum rocket.
No, it's just quantum mechanics.
Oh, quantum. My bad. Quantum mechanics. It's not rocket science. It's quantum science. No, I getcha. Yeah, I know what you mean though. That word has been thrown out a lot, but I know that quantum. Actually, let me go ahead and research the definition because that is actually a good point of debate.
I swear to God, not even just sci-fi, but even like the more modern media. For example, we see those
Oh yeah,
Even
quantum physics. Yeah.
quantum physics.
Yeah. So, but the thing is though, a quantum, at least the definition according to Google, is a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of the radiation it represents. What? 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 So, wait, okay. So, I guess from a definition, it means like energy proportional magnitude to frequency. I, for all of you who can explain, I like to know what that means because I'm guessing what it means is that it's energy that is similar to what it seems to be, but isn't that like old energy though? And that
um,
oh, go ahead.
like this is actually to the point that where even Albert Einstein couldn't really could really explain it that well.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Let's just give you an example. This is a little bit of science. You
hmm,
know, when we think about like light or any just sunlight, we would thought about maybe like it produced by wavelengths, right?
mm-hmm.
We usually see on certain wavelength we would see which color of the the spectrum of the light.
Okay.
But when it comes to quantum physics,
Hmm.
is the Albert Einstein said that it's not really a wavelength, but it's more of an atom, which basically how the solar power mechanics basically comes in.
Yeah, no, actually, I found a definition here which actually is very similar to what you said. It says quantum theory is the theoretical basis of modern physics that explains the nature and behavior of matter and energy on the atomic and subatomic level. And there's another one saying, "Hey, what's up? What's up, Tiki? Glad to have you on." But anyway, sorry, as I was saying, it says like quantum is the smallest indivisible unit. Like it's as small as can be. But I'm guessing
Oh, it meant quarks. It's called quarks.
yes. But there's the thing, though. We have no scientific evidence to prove that quarks are the smallest unit of the universe. What if quarks are made of something smaller? So yeah.
Because at this point, it's actually like a scientific thing,
Yeah,
where
no, so fantasy went to science. Okay, cool.
it's just kind of like quarks is like imagine Minecraft. But
What?
I'm not kidding. Like, okay, for a little bit of Easter egg. Even Minecraft in the end credits, it also mentioned about quark. So
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you have not seen the end credits to Minecraft, please, dear God, get yourselves a 20, 30 bucks and play the damn game. It is so good. And I know I shouldn't just force this, but please, for the love of God.
Shapeless block.
I don't care. I will plug Minecraft. Minecraft is the reason we met, okay? I'm not gonna diss it.
um,
I'm not gonna.
all
Oh,
right, but
God.
they say that quarks is kind of like the building blocks to every. That's
Yeah, that's
at
what
like
yeah, that's what it seems like so far, and that's what so far people seem to be agreeing on. But there's also a thing called string theory, which is apparently that the universe is made out of strings. But that's another can of worms for another day. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this back, and I'm gonna say it's amazing how fantasy has evolved our media and entertainment, mostly because of CGI. CGI has helped us unlock and visualize what can be fantasy in all kinds of shapes and ways, because many different artists have been able to basically interpret it into a way that our minds can perceive as kind of a reality. It's kind of like they're creating these mini dimensions with their rules of fantasy, and it's amazing that human beings can even just do that, just the ability to take something and make it whatever you want.
I'm just imagining you just say CGI is the pivotal moment where
Where humans
fantasy
evolved beyond all living creatures
where,
on the
where,
universe.
where fantasy just became like a reality. Then again, we also see like those monoliths like making sculptures or clay models to make parts or maybe the whole figure of itself. For example, when you say something like making fantasy to reality, I'm just thinking, imagining like those behind the scenes in those movies. For example, like the Lord of the Rings, for example.
Furry, I'm sorry to say this, but your waifu's not real yet.
D- don't say that. Don't say that to me.
I'm sorry to say this to you, buddy, but it's not. We're not there yet. We're
I
not.
trust science. I trust science will be there. Science will be there.
Oh my god! What has this become? No. I'm sorry to say this to you, but it's not gonna happen soon.
No. What I'm trying to say, like, when people, we also have this sometimes cartoons, for example, like maybe anime where they make humanoid characters with animal traits. For example, having like the animal ears and tail.
Oh yeah, I got you.
So I'm more interested of how the origin of these creatures come begin. I'm just imagining like the artist just discovered drugs or catnip something.
Wait, what? Are you suggesting?
Bear with me. Bear with me.
Wait, hold up. What's going on here?
Just bear with me for a sec. So I'm just imagining like how do these characters begin to evolve? Like where did it all begin?
Um, Caves, and I'm not joking about that. We have been imagining this kind of stuff since the very beginning, and there's scientific evidence of there being caves and different kinds of prehistorical drawings of these kind of humanoid anthropomorphic kind of stuff. So furries have been around since the Stone Age. So we have had fantasy for a very long time, my friend. And
Yeah.
we imagine these stories to kind of explain the world around us. So in a way, fantasy was a kind of attempt to explain the unexplainable, which is kind of where the word magic came from. I'm guessing, I'm thinking, but that's the kind of thing that we have been doing since the beginning, and it's just evolved at this point in our kind of species lifetime, where we have turned what we try to use to explain the universe into something that entertains us. So we become lazy. We've gotten lazy.
Now that you mentioned about magic, I believe magic is equivalent to quantum physics. You can't explain this.
Oh my god, that's just another name for it. No.
No, it's the ye old version of quantum physics.
Ye old quantum physics. What are you doing? I'm studying magic. Oh no. Don't burn the scientists, please.
I'm just imagining like the prehistoric those cave paintings just out of nowhere. There's, in a way, just one particular area just have a old wolf. Old wolf.
Oh my god, you did not just say. No. Okay, no. That is a modern-esque meme. If there is
Scientists. This two circles represents two men trying to come between a river which is supposed to be a W. Furries, oval.
I'm thinking.
Imagine if the scientists were furry, then they first announced it that it was the prehistoric that invented the oval language.
Oh my god.
Imagine how would the world evolve now?
I have no words for what you just said, and I have no idea where to go next, but just to say, what is the most recent type of fantasy you've consumed? Because I have no idea how to segue into that. I have no idea at all how to segue on with what you just said. So let's just go on to the next question. What is the most recent type of fantasy you've watched?
Recent type. I would still have come to think of it. Um, I guess it would be more to, um, it's more of a variance to it, like kind of one of everything. Like for example,
Mm-hmm.
like the recently released pilot episode of Hospital Hotel.
Yeah, we're gonna just skip over that because I believe there's been a lot of stuff happening around that. So for now, let's
I
just
get,
not. Yeah,
get the- then
yeah.
there's from when it comes to more medieval and or more futuristic and I kind of just when in between so
Mm-hmm. I got you. I will
I mean
say
to the point
though,
of yeah go
please,
ahead.
if you use fantasy in any kind of way, shape, or form to consolidate with your solitude, I am, with all my heart, I am sorry that is happening to you, but please do not separate yourself from reality for fantasy, for that is a very dangerous thing. Just throwing that out there. I understand that there are many things in this world that do not make sense, but please take care of yourself and don't let fantasy or whatever, don't let it take over whatever is going on in your life. Please.
Except for VR chat, you can do anything you want there.
Wait, what?
VR chat.
I, I, I guess.
I
But
mean VR chat just basically you just
you can't
you
feel anything though. What?
can,
You can't feel anything. That's not real. What?
I mean it's although it's not real, but people tend to try to make it as realistic as possible.
No, I
For
understand.
example, like
I'm just saying.
no,
What I'm saying is reality is important. So please, if you think that you need any kind of help, please do seek it. It's okay to ask for help. You're just human, and you have problems too. So face that reality with open arms, and you'll see that you'll be able to slowly but surely improve your situation. You know, a lot of
because
people.
in
Oh, go ahead.
because in the end we all live in the reality, the
Yeah,
cruel harsh reality.
yeah. So just make it the most you can. And hey, sometimes things just happen. So I don't even know what I'm saying. What I'm
Okay,
saying
I do have one question for you though.
for me. Okay.
What what do you think that the future would be like in terms of more fantasy ish?
In terms of what will fantasy be like in the future, or what the future itself will be like in my own fantasy vision.
Uh, the latter,
Which one's that? I
the
don't have a
second one.
ladder. The second one. Okay. So it's hard to say because we have had actually. Now you mention that, let me just look. Hold up, I gotta look for this because I want to show you something. I want to show the people watching.
Would you consider JoJo to be a fantasy?
No, stands are completely real. Of course I do. What? No, yeah, I forgot to mention my stand Giga Trip. Of course. What?
What?
Upcoming. You'll see.
Is this supposed to be a teaser or something?
Maybe. I'm trying to look for. Yes. Oh, yes. This is what. Actually, do I have the video? There's a video about it. Let me see if I can find it. So. Oh, hey, I found the actual website. Oh, wait, no. Okay. So, people back in the ye holidays of 1920, I believe, thought many different things of what will be the future, of what the future of basically the 2000s in general, what it will be like. many people pondered that, and many people tried to make artistic renditions, and it was interesting to say the least, because many of them were, I mean, some of them were pretty close, but some of them, for example, this one right here, actually, can I view image? Okay, yeah. So if you notice here, he has a radio, a phone, and I forget what the third thing was. But in this image, people had predicted that we would indeed in the future have to carry all of these around. Oh, I'm just gonna change this real quick while I go back to what I was watching. So people back then actually thought, they literally thought, that we would have to carry a radio, a calculator, a phone, an MP3 player, like all this kind of stuff. And in a way they were right. But they never would have thought it would be all in one device. So in a way, it's hard to say what the future will be like, because this is what people thought people will wear in 1893. So yeah, you can just imagine. You can just imagine what people thought we would wear in 2000s. This is 1893 prediction. So I don't know where they got these ideas. I'm sure that our thought process back then was very different to what was happening now. And even the movie, actually a good example of that is the movie Back to the Future. Because in Back to the Future, we thought we would have hoverboards by 2015, which we kind of did, just not in the same vein or not as cool. We do have hoverboards, just not nearly as exciting or cool. So, my predictions for the future. Watching the technology that we have now and the way it's heading, we will soon have very automated transportation for very cheap. And I say this because I've seen more and more cars become quote unquote smart cars. So, going the way of the iPhone, I can envision pretty soon the automatic car, the Apple Auto car. It will literally be an automobile.
But there's one problem.
What's up?
There will be no Windows.
Why is that?
Apple doesn't support Windows. I'm sorry.
I'm mad at you. I'm so mad at you right now. You caught me so off guard with that. And you know it full well that you caught me off guard with that. You took the chance and you swang that bat harder than you've ever had.
I hear Apple, I hear car, so I cannot lose the opportunity.
But you know why it doesn't support Windows, right? Because Tesla broke them.
Yeah, it's not that. Well, oh gosh. Well, at least no Windows. That means Elon Musk won't be smashing it.
Oh my god. But that's the way I think of it. Now I'm gonna do a cop out, and I'm gonna throw the same question back at you. What do you think the future will be like? Ow.
Well, you read really hard.
What?
No. Okay. What I would actually imagine this might have been scary, to some. But imagine now that for example, VR chat being a thing where you can literally creating worlds,
Mm-hmm.
just teleporting through portals. Imagine like having be able to teleport quote unquote in real life. Just instantly teleport just in mere seconds to point A to point B in anywhere of the world.
That I actually have an interesting question to throw back at you because of that. If we do successfully invent teleportation, Say we are able to disassemble and reassemble atoms in a fashion and way that is truly perfect, and we are able to teleport between places in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, if you believe in that, do you think a soul will transport with the body? So, yes, we can teleport humans atom by atom, like every single atom is exactly where it was before. Do you think the soul will travel though? Or do you think teleportation, at least the first attempts of it, will succeed, but will be soulless walking bodies? Like we'll be soulless, like we'll be alive and we'll be ourselves and everything will be perfect. But like we'll be alive, but we'll not have a soul because it was left behind in the teleportation.
I think not. It's definitely going. It's get, like if it's even possible to make it in real life, then that means they have to go through very complicated stuff. Because, like you said, you were concerned about being like a soulless husk. Uh,
No, you would
so,
still like have your personality in terms of your brain and stuff. Like it would still be you. You would still act
mm,
like you, but you just technically would be not dead but soulless. If you watching believe in souls and stuff, then you know what I'm talking about. Whereas when someone dies, well, their soul leaves their body. So if their body is literally broken up and reassembled later on, if that happens in a medical situation, that person's not exactly coming back to life. So would you say is a kind of similar situation with teleportation? Because at least in most cases, teleportation, the case is you are deconstructed and reconstructed somewhere else. So you are literally not existing for a certain amount of time while you're teleported.
that I mean, if it's basically if you're worrying about this, then worrying about so then the idea of successfully building the perfect teleportation device would not have been possible at all.
Yeah,
Because by
but
the time,
we would like it would seem like a success to us because that person is still like they still have their memories, they still have like everything that they had before, and they're
Mhm.
exactly the same person. So we would technically count that as a success. It would be impossible unless we have some scientific way to detect the soul, which we don't.
Which I believe if at this point, what I would say that just the idea or the definition of the soul is just would not exist anymore at this point.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. But in the more kind of long term future, where in terms of what humanity would hold, is going to be a bit grim, I would say.
How so?
I had a couple of these imagination where everyone's brain just being uploaded into the virtual system.
Yeah.
So you basically you can do anything alive in the virtual world.
No, I get
Just
you.
basically just your brain yourself in the virtual world where you imagine yourself not being able to get to be thirsty, hungry, feel any pain at all.
Mm, yeah,
It's
but
it's it's kind of that fantasy. So it's just in your own fantasy or in the quote unquote uploaded in the digital world, whereby the quote unquote virtual world becomes your reality world, if that makes sense.
yeah, but that's going a bit into the controversial area because of belief and stuff. So I think I'm gonna leave that there. But it
Mm-hmm.
was an interesting discussion though, and please leave your ideas down in the comments if you have any. And we're not trying to get controversial or anything. We were just curious and we're just thinking stuff, dumb stuff, as always. But please don't take this any serious way. We're not trying to do any of that. But it was an
Mm-hmm.
interesting look at it. So, do you think that fantasy will eventually become like? Do you think fantasy will eventually just overtake reality in some sort of shape, way, or fashion?
I mean, fantasy. You have like you said before, whereby prediction of something, something what would happen in your reality.
Yeah.
That is already. I mean, that is more like a prediction at some point, and once that the prediction of the future became the present, then we will still be having new fantasy of what the future would might be like.
Yeah, I
So it
got you.
just kind of go is basically like a cycle point. It's just
Oh,
kind of fantasy and reality. They're both evolve over time.
yeah, I got you.
And in my perspective, I would say that the fantasy is more like a prediction or a guideline of what our reality might behold.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Well, anyway, I think that we've touched this topic as much as possible. I'm sure that we might be able to touch this topic again with other people, but it was interesting seeing your perspective, and it was nice having this kind of like 1v1 with just us talking around. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I think I will probably just leave it there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Then thank you so much to Furry Scout for joining me here. If you have any suggestions for next week's topic, please leave it down below. And other than that, thank you so much for all you've done. And other than that, thank you guys so much and have a good night. Bye everyone.
Uh,